And action.
You. Hello, welcome to Film Night Podcast, episode 58, Harry Potter Part 2.
Woohoo!
Let's do it.
Right, let's get into it.
Goblet of Fire. Now this one again, we jump back to more polished stuff.
This is the one I probably saw the most on TV and stuff. Like, it'd always be on TV, and I'd always like...
Yeah.
It was either this one or like the first or the second one. I'd always...
I liked how this was the first time they kind of steered away from that whole mystery kind of thing and said, right, yeah, this is
pretty
like
straightforward storytelling.
Yeah,
this one.
It is like Hunger Games style. Almost,
Yeah,
where you've got
totally.
those little challenges you need to do. And
When did Hunger Games come out? Yes, that was 2012. I'm not
Yeah.
sure when the books came out, but that was definitely something that was going on there. Big time in preteen books and stuff. There was a lot of this kind of test. It's a great format to put that age bracket into, because you do it at school where you're competing in obviously a lot of athletics and
swim days and stuff like that.
Everything. Like it's all relevant and it all makes sense. And that's one aspect I really enjoy about this film. You obviously got the introduction of Robert Pattinson. My most hated actor at that time. Now my most favourite actor.
Everyone went nuts for him. But then there's a lot of people who didn't realise it is in this one as well, because moving on
in retrospect,
moving on to his other big giant success that
now he's Batman.
Now he's Batman.
I'm Batman.
So, Batman.
He was he's just done one after another films. I just or performances. I totally respect that guy now.
Yeah, well,
totally.
He's definitely created a unique career for himself.
Yeah.
It's one thing that is, and it's something that Harry Potter himself has tried to do and hasn't done it as successfully.
None of them have.
Yeah,
of that.
I mean, you see him every now and then. You see,
I've seen a few of his films, and Swiss Army Man.
He's obviously
Jungle.
trying to move away from the Harry Potter stigma that he just doesn't want to be seen as Harry Potter.
Yeah, which is good. I'm glad he's pushing for more independent films.
Yeah,
and he challenges himself.
He was in an Australian one. He had an Australian accent at one stage, which was really cool.
I just saw one.
December Boys or something?
Okay, yes, I know the one. I saw one recently. It's a jail film, prisoner film. Escape from Pretoria.
Right.
That was brilliant. Yeah,
right.
Really good. But yeah, in this film you've got obviously Timothy Spall playing Wormtail, who he's an actor that I've just always enjoyed. He always does crazy roles, and he's just one of those classic UK actors. You've got David Tennant, the man himself.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, what a great. They just one after film after another just introduce these great actors,
and he really made that character his own too. And he had the whole tongue thing going on.
Yeah,
he was really. That was a great role.
Yeah,
really pulled.
I like it because it makes me feel uneasy, when he does that.
Yeah,
and it's a really good thing,
And at this stage, we knew the formula, we knew the what Harry Potter, we knew the world. So I liked how this one was. You jump straight in, and it all just happens.
Just gets on with it, and the big dragon, and all that cool shit. So and you get finally you get like a standoff between Harry and Voldemort.
This is the first time we actually see Voldemort too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, right, that's him. Right.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good battle, and he kills Cedric.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
The whole that was powerful.
So that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That's great.
The visual effects they did with his nose was quite well done too. I wasn't expecting Voldemort to have no nose, but he had no nose and it works.
How good does it work?
So
Ralph Fiennes. I think it's pronounced Fiennes.
I believe so.
I think they say Rafe Fiennes. I've heard that. Rafe Fiennes.
Sorry, mate, if we're saying it wrong.
But he's like top tier actor. Couldn't get any better for a villain. One of my favourite actors as well.
Really did well.
He's just a legend. And you also got Jason Isaacs playing Lucius Malfoy. We haven't spoken much about the little Malfoy. So you got Lucius Malfoy playing, Jason Isaacs playing. I think it's his uncle. Is it his uncle or is his dad?
His dad.
I always forget that. It's his dad, isn't it? And it's really interesting how he's introduced. He's really powerful. He's quite intimidating. Yeah. But obviously he gets knocked down and down as the films.
He's a wimp. At the end of it, he's nothing. He's pathetic. He's kicked aside.
Yeah, I love that whole progression of that character.
Yeah.
Even Draco, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like he's all you think, you know, in the first two films, he's like, oh my god, you know, this
He's
kid's
king, yeah. He's in charge of the
he's
place.
ruling shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's just like gets one scene in a film, you know, and he's nothing
Yeah.
anymore. And it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, there's much bigger. This world's all of a sudden way too big for a
Yeah.
silly bully like that.
It's like, mate, don't even care about your bulliness. And
Yeah.
it's probably a good thing to put in there. It's like bullies don't win kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're
So-
nothing in the scheme of things. The world is a much bigger place.
That's right.
There's much bigger bullies out there. You're always going to be faced with much more powerful
And
things.
at the end of the day, he's a victim of his
that's the
where
whole
he's
idea.
brought up on. And
Yeah, that's right. And that's
powerful.
usually the case with bullies.
Mm.
So yeah, J.K. Rowling, you've nailed it. And say what you want again about her, but gee whiz. Moving on.
Okay, next one. Now this is where it gets a bit
I've got the
Softer
story to
for
say
me.
about this.
right.
This is the one I saw. The first one I saw at the
This
cinema.
is the first one. Hey, so had you seen any of them
Nah,
prior? This is
nah.
it. You just went straight in.
I went
Green.
because my brother was like, my brother went and saw the third one at the cinema. He got me to come to this one. Anyway, I went to this film. I was like, why have I done this to myself? I love this, you know, I'm loving it. I'm digging it. And I was all for it after this film. I thought this was a brilliant...
Well, it's probably a good introduction, especially since you're a bit older, because it is that more mature story going on.
I like the wastrel horse skeleton
Yeah.
things
Yep.
that they introduced in this one.
And everything in every film from this point onwards, they all got a very similar tone. So we had all of the ups and downs of all the different directors. Now we've got Yatesy involved.
David Yatesy.
Obviously, they said, "Oh, this guy's got some creative
And
chops
there's
as
no more
well."
there's no more mystery, or there's no more having to worry if if it's going to be too choppy, or there's not going to be any more worry.
You already got a tone,
Yeah.
and so you
It
just
had
got
been
to
established
continue.
now.
Just got to continue that.
Yeah, because I
going
found
on.
the previous one to be a bit bland on the directing side.
Yeah,
I've
yeah, it
always
was.
found- I
Yeah,
always find that director to be a bit bland.
yeah. I mean, David Yates does have he has got his own voice there. Obviously, it's a very Harry Potter voice.
I like his directing
But it's
style.
it's
I
very
like
good,
it.
and we had some great scenes in this one. So
Obviously, I used to get so annoyed with the villain in this one, the woman that comes in and takes over the school. And
yeah,
she's an utter bitch, you know. I
Yeah.
was just so she
that
did
was
a role.
that was a whole act of the film almost. Though, it was just all about her.
Yeah, and you also had Brendan Gleeson in the last one, and this one playing Mad Eye Moody.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was a great character as
Yeah,
well.
did very well. Yeah.
And you got that weird girl, the blonde girl in this one. That she's a bizarre character too.
That was actually really great casting on her, just because she's so different, and it had to be someone who had a different personality for
You
her.
could embody that.
Yeah, really take it on. And when you meet her, she does seem like a normal person. Obviously, she's an actor and she's able to pull that off, and she did a really good job. So.
And obviously you got Michael Gambon taking over as Dumbledore from Prisoner Azkaban, and he's great. I love Michael Gambon playing. It's him and Ian McKellen, the two wizards.
Especially because he was got a bigger role in it.
And he's really, he's got that meat to his performance. Like he's really
great.
good, really good. Helena Bonham Carter, you got Tim Burton's
Great
Squeeze
yeah.
in there now.
Good to have her thrown in there.
Bellatrix.
She did right with. She did. Her role wasn't even that big, but it was nice to have her involved.
Yeah, I can't see it. Yeah,
It would be interesting. We need a series about her. We need a film about her. Figure out who she is. Because I still don't know who she is. She's just sidekick.
Yeah, well, that whole series, Black Family, the Black Family is just like this whole thing on the wall. You hear a lot, you see a lot about it, but you don't know. Maybe it's more in the books. Tell us if it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I want to read the books. I will probably read the books to my son, so that's going to come. Half-Blood Prince.
This is probably my least watched out of them all.
Well, this one is actually one I actually like to watch because it's one I always forget things about.
Yeah,
so I'm always going back to rewatch it. No, I love it. It's a good one. I find that this and Order of the Phoenix are a great companion piece, back to back. They just carry on with each other really nicely. There's a lot of good reveals in this one. You find out that Severus Snape is actually a goodie, and you find out that Dumbledore has actually been doing some shady stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one of the best reveals of modern day cinema for me, because I had no idea about that at all. And then that was dropped and it was like, what?
Yeah.
So Severus Snape's like the goodie, and Dumbledore's actually like been a bit of a bad guy the whole time.
And this one, in terms of Harry Potter's role in it,
Excuse me.
he really had a more of a adult role in it. Now he was treated like an adult. They didn't treat him like a kid, and they weren't trying to protect him. And
anymore,
it was just, all right, mate.
They're pretty
you're on your
brutal
own.
to him.
Yeah. Superman's right, mate. You're an adult now. You gotta act like it. It was basically having to take a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, I should mention more actors like Jim Broadbent's coming in this one, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those films. Like, I love the end part where Dumbledore's got to drink that stuff.
Yeah,
and then you got all those weird creatures that come into it, and
it's probably the most dreamlike out of all of them to me. It just has that
hazy.
sort of haze. Yeah, that's right. It's very hazy.
hazy.
It's got a very specific kind of.
Yeah, it's very trippy.
And it's Yates again, but it's still very, I don't know.
It's got a weird vibe to it.
Approached it differently. Obviously, it's the very same Yates vibe, but it's just, it just did seem very, I don't know, very. You're right. It's hazy, less color.
Yeah, a lot less color.
Desaturated.
Very desaturated.
He was obviously trying a lot of things with it.
I almost feel like it's because you're experiencing it through Harry Potter's feelings. So it's sort of, I feel like there's a lot of that sort of dictates the tone of the film. So what Harry Potter's going through in this story is obviously there's a lot of stuff going on with him, there always is, but obviously the world is a lot desaturated. It's lost a lot of colour and fun. He's now an adult and
that's
treating
right.
as such.
That's basically what life is.
So it's very grey. It's very very. It's brutal and the
almost
film's brutal.
claustrophobic too a little bit. It's very enclosed and
there's a lot of moments where it's just like it's relentless in that, where it's kind of like strangling you a bit.
Like if we go back to Alfonso's one, where it's vast
sprawling.
and huge, and this one's just
cameras
shrinking
moving
you back
here and there and everywhere, and this one just feels like it's very tight. And it's very, very dark in ways too. But
then we're up to the two back-to-backers, right?
Obviously, it was a bit of a surprise to me when they announced that they were going to split into two films.
Obviously, they were going to leech that as much as they can.
I thought, it made sense to me straight away.
But this first one is probably my least favourite of all of them. It's just running around, basically, to me.
It is. They're going for Horcruxes.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where I'm like, I can't get a handle on it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I enjoy parts of it. I love the part in the woods where they have that action scene and those like, I don't even know what you call them. They're like the sharp claw dudes that are like chasing him to the woods. That's a wonderfully shot moment. There's some really good parts in it, but overall, it's kind of like, I don't know.
There's a lot of that's right. There's moments where nothing's happening and they're just sitting around in the woods, and it's like,
it's very grim too.
And then you got all the carry on. Yeah, it is.
It's very bleak, is the word.
It is. Obviously, a lot of this they had to go through to get to the big giant one. Obviously, they wanted to keep the last one as the big giant. Battle. Everything's happening, the big battle. So they kind of really just got all the boring stuff out of the way, so they could prepare for that one.
And look, I don't hate it by any stretch, but it was. It's funny to see the IMDb reviews because they're just going up and up and up.
I mean,
as the series goes on
if this part one was, that's all it was, then I wouldn't have been interested. But because I was already knew the whole story and I knew what was going, then it's more of like an act in a larger giant story.
Yeah.
So it sort of had that kind of slower, that calm before the storm vibe to it.
Yeah.
Even there was some action and there was some death and all that, but it wasn't anywhere near as what we'd seen and experienced and what was to come.
I don't mind it though. Like overall, I still don't mind it because I find it's like a bit of a road movie. Whereas the others have always been stuck in the school. This one's more of like on the road, on the run.
In the real life,
Yeah. So I really enjoy those aspects of it. And, anytime him and Voldemort get to face off, I love that shit, you know. Especially in Order of the Phoenix, is that moment where him and Dumbledore face off. They have that massive battle and they're just throwing magic at each other. That's like... That's almost the best moment I've ever seen in any film where magic's like being used as like an attack. And they're just like battling it out.
The magic in all of these are amazingly done. The visual effects is too. Like when you've got in multiple of the films where they're basically got crap coming out of their
Yeah,
sticks.
lightning.
And it's like
shit.
gooping over and falling down and
yeah.
all of that stuff. And you got the goop, that's really clever stuff.
Yeah.
That's not like, if someone was to do it, it'll almost just be like a laser.
Yeah.
But to think about what it might actually look like and
Like, yeah, I really respect
react
that because,
and-
like, Star Wars established so much of, like, magic in film and how things could look, and that was always kind of, like, the bar for me. But then after seeing this, I was like, that's how they probably should have approached a lot of the, the Dark Jedi fight, lightning stuff, and, like, there's a lot of oomph behind it.
yeah.
But anyway, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, the end.
This is it. This was what I wanted, to be honest.
Right.
A big giant. This
Battle.
shit's gonna hit the fan. Everyone's gonna be up in the castle, and everyone's gonna be there. Obviously, they should have sent everyone home, but they didn't. And so shit was gonna hit the fan, and and probably the one of the most iconic scene out of all the Harry Potters is when they're all sticking their wands up and creating that huge encapsulating.
Barrier.
I think what that resembled was a lot of like it was. Everything that had happened was leading up to this point, and this was it. They had to. This was their last chance to protect everyone from what was about to happen, and just that whole, just the symbolism of it was powerful for me.
I was pretty surprised when I saw it because I didn't know who dies, who survives, or any of that sort of stuff. So I was interested to see who got killed and what's that, Neville.
Longbottom.
Longbottom steps up and he does his little bit too, and it was all a bit of a surprise for me. I had no idea about how this film was going to play out, or the story was going to play out. So and then obviously Voldemort finally gets through the barrier with all his men and women, and it's an interesting little face off at the end. It doesn't really go the way I thought it would.
No, it went it was different to me too, because you almost expect the Marvel way where it's like...
Yeah, very stock standard kind of fight.
When this one's more like... For a while, everyone's involved, but then it gets to this moment where it's like, it's just you and me, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was a powerful moment because everything else that happened for that moment just disappears. And it's just them two just going... And it was quicker than I thought it was going to be too.
Yeah, it wasn't stretched out by any means. And I like seeing Voldemort how he's like a wimpy, pathetic fetus thing at some point in the film. How weird is that? I love that stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But overall, Harry Potter, great series. It's amazing, like, to have 7 films or 6? 8 films. Jeez. I know what I'm talking about. 8 films. To have 8 films in a year after year pretty much thing going on. It's impossible to have that.
So for me, it's the momentum. Most people can make 2 great films and then get up on the 3rd.
Yeah, which is the usual
This kept it going, and every single one was just as good as the other. Some were better,
Up
some
and
were
down
others.
here, but
however, they were all kept the momentum going.
Yeah,
they all were successful, and they all kept the story. They could have stuffed it up on the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th one and made it all fall apart, but they didn't, and that was.
They did well.
You got to commend everyone involved.
And you had so many other franchises happening at the same time, trying to steal thunder, trying to, like there was so much battling going on. There was like Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Pirates of the Caribbean. You had Hunger Games, you had Twilight, you had all this shit jumping out. And Harry Potter just did its thing and did it well and did it right.
It's one of the most memorable.
Yeah, definitely. After all is said and done, for me, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter are still the ones that stand out. Matrix can fuck off.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the legacy of Harry Potter is sort of tainted now. We've got all these other ones coming out where.
What are they called again? Buddy, I always think like creatures.
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts.
It was not the film that I would have liked to see.
No.
I would have liked to see, or what I was hoping for, and what I heard niggles of, and obviously it was a load of shit, but it was niggles of was maybe they were going to make a series that was how Hogwarts started.
Yeah.
Way back in hundreds of years, that kind of style.
Well, didn't you see that they've just announced the TV show or something?
Yeah.
Prequel.
So we're going to see how that goes.
I think we're going to see the prequel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, even those new films that came out are prequels technically.
They are. I think the biggest thing is that they just went so different, where it's the same world, but it's a US, and they just completely rewrit everything. And maybe they'll connect later on, but it was all just the whole
poisoning the well with.
Yeah, the flow was wrong. There was no acts in it. It was just a mess of things. All these people doing stuff, and that's all it felt like to me.
There was no through line. So, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cool.
Thanks for watching Mini Academy Online. If you'd like to explore more about content, click on this or click on that. Like and subscribe, thumbs up, ring bells, do a dance, sing a song, drink a hot cup of tea or coffee, and I'll see you in the next one.